explain how this document came into being. I think you brought the quote about humanistic education to my attention.
Well, we were having a debate on educational techniques and pedagogy and all that. And,
right.
And
I think somebody mentioned the...
Yeah, and I had been...
You had said the word humanistic education.
I was talking about humanistic education because I was seeing that whatever was happening didn't have a humanistic approach. And coming from the experience I come from, I always thought that education had to have a humanistic approach, which in 2 or 3 words mean, you have to look at the individual who's been the center of the educational technique, and you have to know what are the needs of that person, and you have to know what that person desires, what are the expectations for that person. So instead of setting all those things up for them, you have to find it out from them. And also it's more integral vision, because you have to look at the individual as what it is as part of the society, where he comes from, what his culture is, what his social differences are, these things. And then you had all the quotes, because you've been working with the quotes for a long time already.
And that's one way to connect.
It's a way to connect with basically anything else. And we were saying, well, we can use these quotes in game of cards in which students have to match quotes with their definitions. That would be in step 1. And then you can later have students by themselves define the quotes when they come into the classroom. And then you can have a third stage, students bring the quotes themselves to have to be defined in classroom. And one day you can even have, in a 4th level, have students write something that a language that they think can be a quote.
Right.
Something that encloses the truth. And
so
probably you can also have them read a text and then get a quote from the text. Something in which they think a truth is being generalized. Mm-hmm. So there are many levels that you can work with. Well, the constant improvement is a chapter you did. Yeah.
I just brought it in because I said if you're going to ask the students to question how things were done in the school, changes will need to be made. And one way to generate that attitude towards change is by having everybody understand Deming. And after they've gotten to that point, it becomes clear that we have to move to projects. And because whatever kind of school you have, it's going to generate the need for projects.
Definitely. You can't think of the teaching and learning process without the presence of projects. And projects are simply defined by an activity in which the student engages himself in research to come to a conclusion or to a desired outcome. Say, very much, you can use it for any type of subject. You will always have assignments and projects in which one student or a group of students meet together to study on a certain topic and then to bring it to the classroom and present it. What projects normally help in is in giving them certain independence and in a way training them for the research process, for the methodology of investigation. When the students are able to go out there and use the internet, use whatever means they have access to research on a topic and then to present it in classroom, there can't be any other way to teach better than that one, because it's the student is becoming responsible for what he's doing, and he's becoming responsible for presenting that to the rest of the classroom and the teacher. So it's definitely the best way possibly to teach someone, to teach about something. There are many of experiences in which students who do not respond to other forms of instruction would normally do much better when you find what is the thing that they want to talk about, and then you have them do a project on that one.
Now, like for many teachers, they haven't experienced this kind of teaching, and so they need examples of what a project looks like, and that's why we put this list.
Definitely.
This is not a definitive list, but no, this is a beginning list.
It's a beginning list of how many things you can use projects for, and how you can easily build your own research project for your students in the classroom. But one thing is important, definitely important to have in mind when you're going to do a project. Find out what the student wants to talk about.
Right.
What they want to research.
That makes it easy.
It makes it easier, and a very easy example. If you want a student, if you want to know if a student can say in English, contrast and compare, have them talk about two different baseball players or basketball players. If he likes basketball, have it compare a player who is absolutely a team player against a player who is absolutely an individual player. But put them in their world so that they can use their own language.
And if it's someone who likes shopping, have them compare two different kinds of stores.
Exactly.
And then what we also felt was necessary, in addition to showing teachers examples of projects, why not show them examples of schools that use these principles, so that you can go to their websites, you can go to the schools and get toured. You can actually see these schools at work. They have videos on YouTube as well.
Yes, definitely so. It's also always good to see who is already doing what we plan to do and what the outcomes are. Because definitely there are many, many different ways and forms to not only to create projects and methodologies, but also to apply them in classroom. There's not a single theory that can prove that one thing works better than any other. It's a process of learning and teaching between teachers and students.
And so the next stage is, can we enlarge this list? So we need to get Marenco.
Oh, yes, there definitely.
This is a very U.S.-centric, so this needs to be expanded.
Yeah, there's great educators all around the world who have, well, you got Montessori being used in the United States, which is an Italian approach.
Right. Ivan Illich.
Ivan Illich, which came from
de-schooling.
De-schooling of society. You've got people in America doing things. You've got Russian pedagogy that is absolutely great.
So this particular section needs to be expanded, I think, or even if it's just a short list. And then, of course, there's resources at the end. So it becomes a very tight, small book that we hope will be useful to some teachers. And what we like to call it is an airplane book, because
you've been on a flight from Orlando to Miami.
Yeah. And when I go down in the airplane, I can say I left behind this book.
I see. Okay.